Welcome to Shredder Fanfic. Like, subscribe, and hype video. Join members to gain early access to new videos.
The main character, after dying in his previous life, he wakes up inside of Marvel as a genius inventor. He creates Shenron at the start. What else is he gonna create inside of Marvel?
Marvel's genius inventor. I'll make a wish-granting dragon with my own hands. Chapter 1. I, Russell, am an agent with substandard grades. Russell's high school grades were not good, so while crossing the street, he was transporting to another world to improve his grades. He traveled to the Marvel universe. Then, because the female students here were quite enthusiastic and hot, his spy grades were not ideal. So Russell was sent to go undercover. The place he was sent to was Hydra's headquarters, where there were several other SHIELD agents in similarly unfortunate circumstances, making it an extremely dangerous location. He was initially a little panicked. After all, anyone who has seen infernal affairs knows that undercover agents never have a good ending, especially rebel organizations like Hydra, whose methods are ruthless. You might find yourself shot 30 times in the back one day and forced to commit suicide. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, 3 years after 3 years, Nick Fury, who was also an undercover agent, became the head of Hydra. We have the advantage. Happy. Hey Russell, get me some fried chicken and a family bucket, plus lots of hamburgers and hot dogs. Oh, and some ice-cold Coke, the more the better. My God. Field work is such a headache. Along with the sound came hurried footsteps. Carlson, the village chief of the novice village, who was even more famous than Uncle Nine, the master of all realms, was walking quickly towards them. He went to Russell Noodles to order. That's right. Russell, whose performance as an agent was not ideal, was not a qualified agent and naturally could not carry out various missions. So he became a logistics staff member of SHIELD, responsible for cooking. God knows how happy those secret agents who eat hamburgers, fried chicken, various salads, and dark bread every day feel after tasting Chinese cuisine. Oh, why are we eating junk food again today? How about some cola chicken wings, kung pao chicken, peach glazed beef, or General Tso's chicken? Carlson listened, his mouth watering. But he still shook his head helplessly. He sighed and waved what he was holding at Russell. Since they were all insiders, he didn't hold back. I got a big mission from the boss. A certain playboy was kidnapped by terrorists while selling weapons and has been missing for 3 days. A dashing young nobleman, kidnapped by a terrorist organization. Isn't that Tony Stark? Russell, who had been nonchalant, suddenly brightened up, because this was a beginner's perk similar to the Super Crystal for all Marvel transmigrators. Although Tony was kidnapped by a terrorist organization, he did not die in the end. Instead, he survived, causing the stock price to plummet before rebounding. When the other party returned, they shut down Stark Industries, the weapons division that was like a golden egg, choosing to no longer engage in the highly profitable arms industry. As a result, the stock price plummeted, falling so low that even its own mother couldn't recognize it, and it was on the verge of bankruptcy. Then came the great battle with Obadiah. With Tony's famous line, "I am Iron Man," the stock price surged to an alarming level, practically exploding. Russell estimated that if he leveraged his position, going short and then long repeatedly, the $30 million he had accumulated over the past 10 years could easily multiply several dozen times. He rubbed his hands together excitedly. In his mind, he shouted, "All in. All in." Russell was in a good mood. While preparing the ingredients, he joked, "Oh my God, this is truly shocking news. Those poor bastards have really caught a super rich fat sheep." Tony had been missing for 3 days. But for ordinary people, the news is still being kept under wraps. After all, the other party is the soul of Stark Industries. If the stock market knew he was missing, it would definitely be in turmoil. So it is very likely that the higher-ups would resolve the issue internally and reach a private settlement with those terrorists. And as an arms giant, even if they ask for an exorbitant amount, like tens of billions of dollars, it's not a problem. So what did those terrorists do? Let Tony manually craft missiles. Those things aren't even worth much. Dude, if you had hundreds of billions, let's not even talk about becoming a terrorist. Wouldn't it be better to use that much money to pick some mushrooms in the desert? Young hero, that thing is cheap and easy to use, and it even comes with an instruction manual. However, these are all Russell's complaints. He felt that since the person was undereducated and not very smart, that's why they became a terrorist, so he couldn't have too high expectations of them. He was humming a little tune as he fried chicken. Carlson, on the other hand, looked worried. As a high-ranking agent in SHIELD, he naturally knew that Tony's identity was not just that of a wealthy man, but also that of Howard, one of the founders of SHIELD. They also value human relationships. Naturally, there were also considerations. Of course, it wasn't because Tony was rich. SHIELD really didn't need his sponsorship. It was just that their leader, Nick Fury, was incredibly greedy. Carlson guessed that his boss had embezzled an astonishing amount. It's estimated to be worth several hundred million. What SHIELD truly values Tony is that he is a genius inventor who frequently develops all sorts of strange and unusual weapons. Although they are not openly sold elsewhere, they all quietly fall into the hands of their agents. It has super elasticity and tensile strength, making it suitable for trapping people. Explosives with various amazing sense-induced explosion effects. And a sonar device for clearing out small fish within a certain range. Only 2 words to describe it. It's really useful. So Carlson didn't want the other person to die so soon, but how could he find them in such a vast desert? So much sand. Such a big sun. It's so hot. And there were so many AKs firing bullets. Carlson's face contorted. Russell, why is your cola so bitter? Oh, I added Coptes chinensis. Why? Because our fates are just as bitter as yours. 4:30 p.m. Russell clocked out of get off work and drove home. As he passed the iconic Stark Tower, still brightly lit, it stirred up a flood of thoughts in him. Although the Marvel Cinematic Universe was chaotic before, it was all within a controllable range. The only example was when an alien spaceship invaded Earth and was knocked through by a stubborn kid. In other words, Dormammu came riding on darkness, only to be driven back by a bald man in yellow. In other words, someone reversed time, but because of their soft heart, the entire species was almost wiped out. It's just a few small things. When Tony returns and proclaims himself Iron Man in front of everyone, that will mark the beginning of Marvel's true golden age. Oh no, aliens are coming. How am I, an ordinary special agent, supposed to survive? As Russell sighed, a line of golden reminders appeared before him. High-value intelligence mission detected. Infiltrate an Afghan terrorist organization single-handedly, take on 300 gunmen, and successfully rescue Tony Dark. Mission difficulty, 3 stars. Except, upon success, the 3rd layer of the character template will be activated. Current character template, Top Assassin Wesley. 1-star mission completed. Lone Wolf's journey past the assessment, joined the Special Agent Organization, and unlocked gunfighting and firearms proficiency. 2-star mission completed. Conquer 100 enemies to unlock bullet time. which can temporarily accelerate thinking and improve neural reaction speed. Completing the 3-star mission will unlock the bullet zone, which reduces the movement speed of all objects within a 10-meter radius. Bullet domain, interesting. But I choose to give up. Russell possesses bullet time and gunfighting skills, making him a top agent surpassing Coulson and Natasha, because his bullets can actually curve, and he can even dodge bullets. But what the hell is going to Afghanistan to work for a terrorist organization? They not only have AK-47s and Gatling guns, but also rocket launchers, tanks and missiles. He still has $30 million left to spend. Samsung mission abandoned. Wesley template progress terminated. Extracting templates for other characters from various realms for you. Congratulations! You have obtained the Genius Inventor template. Namekians. Russell slammed on the brakes. His expression was incredibly strange. Namekians. Inventor. Russell was bewildered by the wind. Chapter 2. The Namekian's Power and the Dragon that Grants All Wishes. Currently unlocked template, Namekian. Character template introduction. An alien race from the Dragon Ball universe. They are very friendly, extremely fond of the environment and peace. They are not good at fighting, but their love for nature gives them amazing abilities. Please complete Mission 1. The kind Namekians take pride in helping others. Please save one life. Reward for Mission 1. Obtain Namekian physique. Through training, you can become stronger with a maximum combat power of 3,000. Task 2. The kind-hearted Namekians take pride in saving lives. Please save 100 lives. Reward for Mission 2. Can be converted into Namekian Dragon Bloodline, granting the ability to create magical items called Dragon Balls. Task 3. Not unlocked. Reward for Mission 3. Bloodline Evolution, achieving the Namekian Super Dragon race, granting the Dragon Balls magical artifacts created with enhanced effects and an expanded range across the entire universe. Task 4. Not unlocked. Reward for Mission 4. Bloodline Evolution, achieving Super Namekian status. The Dragon Balls created will have more powerful effects, enabling the materialization of magical items from other worlds. Task 5. Not unlocked. Reward for Mission 5. Bloodline Evolution, achieving the status of a Namekian god, capable of creating any magical item, granting wishes, and creating everything. You can only unlock other character templates after abandoning the mission progress. As the saying goes, Marvel's grand stage. Don't come here, little one. After Russell transmigrated, he unlocked a cheat ability at a very young age and unlocked some character templates. However, perhaps because he was still young and weak, the character templates he found were very ordinary and unremarkable. It's not worth completing the task at all. It's a kind of useless thing. It wasn't until a chance encounter with the existence of agents that the assassin agent template Wesley was unexpectedly unlocked. This character comes from the movie universe of the League of Assassins. Wesley is the male protagonist. He has an exaggerated talent and can perform gunfighting, which is to make bullets curve or even spin. It is one of the few skills that is easy to learn yet powerful. Russell was very happy after he attained enlightenment. After all, gunfire was happening every day in free America, and having this ability greatly increased his chances of survival. But he wasn't too happy either, because this gun-fu technique would be top-notch in the ordinary world, making one a superior being, but in the Marvel universe, where even the god Galactus was killed again and again, it's nothing at all. There are piles and piles of them that are not afraid of bullets. A mercenary whose mouth was sealed shut because he talked too much managed to deflect bullets with his twin swords, and even when he was slashing at submachine gun fire at close range, he didn't suffer any damage. Gunfighting is comparable to that. That's child's play. Therefore, Russell willingly became a logistics staff member for SHILD. Fortunately, SHILD was Hydra's headquarters, and he easily gained the enemy's approval and completed Mission 2 by virtue of his superb cooking skills. The reward for Mission 2 is bullet time. It improved his neural reaction speed, which could be used not only for shooting, but also for fighting and dodging. He is the strongest agent in SHILD. However, these abilities do not even amount to 1% of the reward that can be drawn this time. He parked his car on the side of the road. He took a deep breath. He was recovering from his excitement. Having traveled through more than 20 years and extracted character templates more than a dozen times, and completed some missions, the previous ones were all just ordinary characters like Bald Qiang or Duan Zhengchen. How come such an exceptional character suddenly appeared? It's like going on dozens of blind dates, and every time you meet either a fairy or a landlady. They were all ready to give up. The result was a match with Huang Yaimai. Who can stand this? Russell pondered for a moment, then turned his gaze to the towering Stark Tower. As a man, he had a gut feeling that the changes in the cheat system were related to this. After all, he remembered someone saying that Tony's kidnapping marked the arrival of the superhero era. Although I don't know the specific reason. But at least it's a nice surprise. Isn't that right? The character template, unlocked this time, is quite powerful. It's a Namekian from the Dragon Ball world. They are all green with 2 antennae on their heads, and generally have a fighting power of around 1,000 when they reach adulthood. This is the power level standard in Dragon Ball. A human wielding a pistol has a power level of 5, commonly known as a weakling. He can withstand bullets with his bare hands and single-handedly sweep through an entire legion. His combat strength is 30. It is capable of unleashing a special move that can launch an energy wave to destroy the moon, and its combat power is estimated to be around 200. A combat power of 1,000 is extremely valuable. With a mere gesture, one can easily blow up a mountain or even destroy a city, making them a veritable human nuclear weapon. It's absolutely a transformation from an ordinary person to an extraordinary one. Russell couldn't help but smile at the thought of someone with a shield yelling at him about fighting all day, only to be slapped to the moon and turned into a mooncake. He found it all rather comical. Besides their fighting prowess, Namekians are also. It also possesses many untapped superpowers, such as the ability to regenerate severed limbs, the ability to survive by drinking water, the ability to communicate telepathically, and the ability to heal others' injuries. They can also reproduce on their own. A single person can reproduce hundreds or thousands of offspring by continuously producing eggs, thus creating a species on their own. Of course, Russell will try to develop various abilities, but he will never touch the last one because he is a normal person and does not have the bad habits of those junior students like to be called Mom or Dad. This is just one of the many benefits of completing Task 1. After completing Task 2, it will also unlock a stronger dragon bloodline. By then, Russell will be able to create the strongest power-up for the Namekians, and also the strongest power-up in the entire Dragon Ball universe, Shenron, who can grant wishes. Although the created dragon cannot directly make him extremely powerful, it can make him the leader of Hydra and the first Asian president in history. Or they may have a long lifespan. Its most important ability is the ability to directly revive others. The weaker Dragon Balls can only revive one person at a time, while the stronger Dragon Balls can revive everyone at once. A certain purple sweet potato spirit. I will wipe out half of all life in the universe. Not bad. What's your next wish? Russell mainly looked at the rewards for Mission 1 and Mission 2, because those were things he could do. As for the more outrageous rewards for the later missions, he just glanced at them and pretended not to see them. Based on his understanding of cheat codes, there wasn't even a half-finished instruction manual. Who knows what triggering conditions are needed? It took him a full 6 years to trigger Mission 3, which is like 3 years after 3 years. Who knows when the next mission will be triggered? However, he was already content. You start with resurrection coins. But I have some things to do. Otherwise, I won't be able to collect the Dragon Balls all by myself. As the vehicle restarted, Russell had already made a preliminary decision in his mind. Avengers. X. Dragon Ball Guardians. Square root. Chapter 3 Dragon Ball Guardians. Reward obtained. The Namekian's Dragon Balls possess powerful wish-granting abilities, but this immense power, when placed in the hands of the weak, will inevitably attract prying eyes and bring disaster. Their elder was a wise man. They would rather let their people transform the entire planet with their own hands than let them rely on the power of the dragon. In addition, Namek already has a harsh environment. There are no other intelligent races, so they survived peacefully. Despite the elder's best efforts to prevent this, he never expected that a boy from the clan had been lost on Earth. This boy was also capable of creating Dragon Balls and had leaked the information into the universe, which attracted the terrifying cosmic demon King Frieza, leading to the destruction of the entire planet. When the Dragon Balls come together and Shenron is summoned, it is destined to be a large-scale event that cannot be hidden. It was fine the first couple of times. If this happens too often, it will definitely be discovered by other high-tech devices. If anyone knew the power of the dragon, they will definitely come to steal it, unless Russell abandons this wish-granting artifact. But that's absolutely impossible. Just as wealthy people worry about being stolen from, robbed of their treasures, or plotted against, they will try every means to protect their money, rather than spending a penny and pretending to be poor. That's stupid. Therefore, Russell had already begun to plan in his mind to find a group of capable people to serve as his bodyguards. They didn't need to be too desperate, but they had to be reliable, not able to deceive him, not able to stab him in the middle of the night, and their strength had to be quite good. The Avengers are the perfect candidates. Furthermore, the Dragon Ball Guardians also need a certain level of intelligence. Once the Dragon Balls are used, they'll fly all over the world, and to find them, we'll need to build a Dragon Ball radar. Bertrand Russell, who had been a corporate slave for several years. It can be said that he has long since lost all his skills and has even forgotten how to calculate eccentricity. Not to mention learning how to build the Dragon Ball radar. His superhuman intelligence told him that he shouldn't waste time on such meticulous work and should find an outsourced job. You need to be a genius enough. It needs to be reliable enough. Otherwise, you might get stabbed in the back. You need to have considerable ability. And such a candidate. Russell already had the answer in his heart. But he wasn't in a hurry. He first looked at his first task. The kind Namekians take pride in saving lives. Please help a life. There was no demand to save any lives. There was no insistence on rescuing anyone. This character template unlocking task was the easiest Russell had ever encountered since acquiring this cheat. Leaving aside other things. Just the last time he unlocked that silly pillar template for the courtyard house. The first task alone required him to take care of the business of 100 widowed young women. The reward for completing the task is simply the other person's cooking skills. Is he that kind of person? He is a champion of justice, someone who is mortal with gambling and drugs. Don't misunderstand. Russell's culinary skills were earned through hard work and dedication. It has absolutely nothing to do with that idiot shoe. Really. Eh? The nights in America are quite vibrant. After all, it's a megacity, especially at its peak, having just emerged from the Cold War. Everywhere is filled with extravagance and debauchery. On the streets, homeless people and drug addicts can be seen everywhere, forming a stark contrast with the well-dressed white-collar workers. Because they cannot find high-paying jobs and cannot afford high rents, they have no choice but to sleep on the streets. They usually rely on begging, receiving relief, and selling blood. Or inherit a partner's estate. They made a living by selling their bodies to pharmaceutical companies for experimentation. This is a unique scenic view that cannot be seen in the country. Russell drove here. His gaze swept across the area, and he figured that these people who walked unsteadily, who might fall to the ground at any moment, were very likely to become his lucky targets for completing tasks. But soon, he found a more suitable target. On the roadside, after the rain, 3 soaking wet kittens were huddled together in the haystack. They were shivering from the cold. He looked extremely thin and malnourished. "Kitty, kitty," accompanied by several calls. The 3 thin, stray kittens actually responded. Without the slightest hesitation, they stumbled and staggered towards Russell. It can only be said that he was destined to survive. Russell took off his clothes and let the 3 of them carry them away. Compared to saving people, saving 3 animals was obviously easier. It seems the 3 pure ones are protecting you. Task 1 completed. Things happened much faster than Russell had imagined. After just a simple feeding, the 3 little guys ate voraciously, and their bellies visibly bulged out. The pet store staff carefully cleaned it again. Even before the hair was completely dry. Russell received the message that the mission was completed. With just a thought, the rewards for Mission 1 and the Namekian physique would be instantly credited to his account. This instantly brought a smile to his face. "Oh, sir, this is a male cat and 2 female cats. Although they have been strays for a while, they do not appear to have any diseases. They are very docile when bathed and will be suitable for adoption. Wildness and alertness are advantages for stray cats. But it's a flaw for people. Domesticated animals only need to be silly and not bite. Yes, a tip. Thank you, sir." Russell hummed a little tune and led the 3 lucky kittens back to his home. It was an empty, large villa. As everyone knows, as a transmigrator from a certain point, he was born with the constitution of an orphan. When he was very young, his parents died due to some incident, leaving behind an inheritance of less than $20. It seems like a lot, but in reality, there aren't many. It was barely enough to support him as he grew up, and he couldn't even afford the tuition for college. Fortunately, after he unlocked Gun Fu 6 years ago, he received sponsorship from a bunch of kind-hearted gangsters. He received a considerable sum of money. I bought this place on a whim. At first, I was very happy, but after living there for a while, it felt empty and very boring. It's 300 square meters with a garden and lawn, and the wind blows very loudly. It's not even as warm as his rented room, which was less than 10 meters big in his previous life. At that time, he received a salary of $4,000. That was the happiest time of his life. Horse-style doghead. After settling the 3 little guys in, providing them with cat food and litter, and even making them a cat bed, I decided to make a cat bed for them. Russell then returned to his room. Then I lay down on the bed. I couldn't wait to claim the reward. Bring it on. I'm incredibly hungry and thirsty. Chapter 4. 1 bullet, 6 kills. The police chief's face turns green. This cheat code is incredibly powerful. It's quite amazing. Russell rescued 3 stray kittens, easily completing Mission 1 and unlocking the Namekian physique bonus. He was prepared that I would become green, but I would also become stronger. But the reality is, his appearance had not changed at all. The physical body is changing rapidly. It absorbs the energy of the surrounding universe. It rapidly gathers within the body, forming a powerful and extremely domineering energy. That's the Kai from the Dragon Ball world. Unlike Chakra in the Naruto world, which is a versatile attribute that can be used to develop various amazing ninjutsu and achieve incredible results. But it also has its own unique features. This attribute is particularly useful in combat, as it can enhance the user and unleash unimaginable power and destructive force. It can also be used for protection. In the world of Dragon Ball, high combat power is almost overwhelming for low combat power. Even if they stand still, those with low combat power cannot hurt their opponents. It's precisely because the defensive power of Kai is so strong that many famous scenes of smoke without injury have even emerged. Russell quietly sensed the changes within himself. On the surface, he was an incompetent agent. But in reality, he is an exceptionally skilled fighter. They have an intimate knowledge of their own bodies, can observe inexplicable changes within them, and can sense the presence of Kai. But I want to control it as I please. Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. He can't use techniques like the flying technique, solar flare, afterimage technique, spirit slash, Kaioken, etc. like Goku. He can only use the simplest Prince-style fighting method, like Vegeta, which is to randomly throw energy balls. So much air. I can sense the life energy of the other people living around me, but it's so weak, so very weak. Compared to me, they're like countless ants on the roadside, utterly insignificant. This is the Namekian's talent. It possesses extremely strong perception abilities. It can even be used for spiritual communication. Russell sensed the aura emanating from the people around him, as clear as a lamp in the darkness, yet utterly vulnerable. He adjusted his breathing. A flash of silver light appeared in his eyes. That's the mission reward unlocked by the assassin agent template, bullet time. It can accelerate nerve response speed in a short period of time. Even ordinary people. It also has the ability to dodge bullets. Now that Russell has activated this overclock state, he is no longer an ordinary person. His body is filled with energy, and his physical body is incredibly powerful. Bait. With a thought. Punches were thrown rapidly, one after another. Before the old fists disappeared, new fists appeared, accompanied by terrifying and sharp explosions, leaving afterimages as if there were countless fists. The terrifying and domineering energy within his body. At this moment, they were itching to make a move. It is ready to spew out at any moment. But Russell was holding him back. He felt the heat coursing through his body, and had no doubt that the sword energy would be even more powerful when combined with the force of his fist. It is absolutely no weaker than Mike Guy's full force attack using the 8 gates. It can definitely break through that wall. The entire landscape, stretching for thousands of meters, was flattened along with it. It left behind a terrifying deep trench. Coal. But in the end, Russell did not use it. With a relaxed exhale, he withdrew from his godlike hyperdimensional state. That punch was really cool. But he might encounter an even more handsome bald sorcerer with a green necklace on his chest and dressed in yellow robes, who slaps him into some dimension and gives him a cell phone and a Wi-Fi password called HHH While we're at it, let's lock him up for 100 years or something. Changes in the physical body. It's the ultimate feeling of pleasure. It can surpass the thrill of playing video games, using high-tech gadgets, or flying for long periods of time. Otherwise, why do you think weightlifting enthusiasts are so obsessed with the gym? Do you really think it's just to attract the attention of the same sex? It's already satisfying for ordinary people to become stronger. Needless to say, this is the instantaneous transformation from an ordinary person to an extraordinary one. Russell was so happy, it was indescribable. He felt happy both physically and mentally. But when he saw his clothes, which were somewhat tattered from his rapid punches, he frowned. It seems that getting clothes that can withstand combat is also very important. He didn't want to be beaten to a pulp during a fast-paced battle, his armor torn off, his manhood exposed, and then ravaged by the wind, leaving his opponent to die of shame. That wasn't the proper way to win. Okay, let's finalize the plan. I received the reward for Task 1. I experienced the incredible strength of the Namekian human body. Russell became even more diligent and hardworking. Using his access to SHILD, he found some organizations that regularly helped the homeless and located their regular haunts. After all, those homeless people are just trying to survive. But it refreshes everywhere. Rescuing hundreds of them and finding them is not an easy task. Rescue organizations are just a convenient, opportunistic approach. He bought a lot of food and supplies and carried out the rescue at fixed locations. But the problem was quickly discovered. The requirements for saving people are much stricter than those for saving cats, which is not as simple as just feeding them. Because those cats were eventually adopted by Russell, they were considered to have been saved. To reach the level of salvation assessed by the Golden Finger rating. It's not just about having food. Moreover, those who are sick need to be treated. They also need to have the ability to work. Those who are saved today, but will die in a few days, are not counted in the number of rescues. Fortunately, Russell was mentally prepared. After all, he had been studying his cheat system for more than 10 years and had long been used to the demanding difficulty of the missions. If he could unlock missions by simply feeding him food, then it wouldn't be the cheat system he was familiar with and had cursed 1,000 times behind his back. The rescue operation is ongoing, but trouble was brewing silently. What? Recently, some outsider has been helping those dirt poor guys, not only giving them food and shelter, but also buying a company and providing them with jobs. A priest noticed a significant decrease in his blood and drug sales revenue and sensed something was wrong. He then received this damning answer from his subordinate. He almost laughed out of anger. Where did this rich idiot come from? He hates guys like that the most. So the priest ordered, God is punishing the sinners. Anyone who helps them is a devil from hell. Go and teach him a lesson and get him out of here. The gang thugs immediately nodded. He quickly took his tools and went. They were clearly very familiar with the process. The priest nodded in satisfaction, counting the banknotes, and soon received a call from his subordinate. What's up? On the other end of the phone. It was the trembling voice of those gangsters, almost on the verge of tears. Boss, guess if there are any bullets in the gun. Day 2. A police station. The bureau chief looked at the report handed to him by his subordinate, his face even more ashen than if he had eaten shit. What does it mean to have one bullet kill 6 people? And they weren't even standing in a row. Is this the result of your elite on-site investigation? You're wasting taxpayers' money. OMG fuck. Chapter 5. Dejected Natasha, Rise Up, Dragon. Why do you seem to be in a really good mood? Of course, I also have to thank Carlson for the inside information, which allowed me to short Stark's stock and make a hefty profit. Russell has been in a great mood lately. Since unlocking the Namekian physique, he felt that the limits of his physical body had been unlocked, like the bald guy who had removed his limiter, and he could become stronger by exercising every day. It can be said to be in a period of explosive growth. There are absolutely no bottlenecks to speak of. With just a little exploration, he mastered the art of flying. He can fly freely like Superman. This is one of humanity's dreams. Even better news is yet to come. With Russell's efforts in the past few days, the number of Namekians that need to be rescued for Mission 2 will soon reach 100. The mission was completed quite smoothly. Apart from a few clueless gangsters, there were even a few so-called compatriots who wanted to trick him. It really proves that saying. When fellow villagers meet, they stab each other in the back. At most, it will happen today or tomorrow. The number of people rescued will reach 100, and then we can make dragon balls by hand. Become a very beaver-like Marvel inventor. Russell didn't need to look up to know who was asking him the question. That's Natasha from SHILD. The other party is a super agent with good looks and figure. She will have many scandals with superheroes in the future, but her name is Black Widow, which proves that she is not someone to be trifled with. But later, in Infinity War, in order to obtain the Infinity Stones and save all of humanity, the other party chose to sacrifice himself without hesitation, rather than displaying the so-called literary backbone of someone who thinks the water is too cold and my head is too itchy. He is indeed a warrior worthy of admiration. Russell asked curiously, "It's been a while. I remember you were on vacation. Why are you back all of a sudden? Holidays can be boring him. I'd like some Kung Pao chicken, please." Okay. Natasha didn't cut her vacation short and come back because she was bored. After all, for secret agents, a holiday is a luxury. She sat at the dining table, quietly lit a cigarette, and then looked at Nick Fury's urgent mission report summoning her back. It's about a gunfight that happened on the street a few days ago. Although this is common in free America, where everyone is warlike and even middle school students buy guns for self-defense. This shows the freedom here. What caught the attention of SHIELD was that, after on-site investigation, they found only a single pistol cartridge case, and the surrounding residents did indeed only hear one gunshot. But the damn thing is, there were 6 bodies at the scene. In other words, someone fired a single shot and killed 6 people and even pierced their heads. It wasn't like they were standing in a row being shot at. The most terrifying thing is that, according to expert trajectory analysis, it is indeed possible to do this, but only if bullets can curve. The curve of the turn wasn't very large. It only went about a full circle. It's that guy again. Bullet maniac. Natasha had her answer. She knew the other party. He was a terrifying criminal who had appeared 6 years ago, specializing in double-crossing gangs at various locations. They have a truly terrifying record. Each time, a single pistol wiped out 20 or 30 criminals armed with submachine guns. The bullet trails were particularly bizarre. No matter what cover they hid behind, they would be shot in the head, as if they possessed telekinetic abilities. SHIELD has been tracking the other party. After all, possessing such abilities makes one a born ace agent. If we can't catch it, the other party is the most terrifying ace assassin. But then the other party disappeared without a trace and could not be found at all. So many years have passed. It's happened again. Natasha frowned, unable to understand the other party's motives. In the past, the other party had double-crossed her for money, but what was their motive this time? She was puzzled. Meanwhile, Russell, who was cooking, quietly smiled. Want to grab his chicken feet? Hey, hey, hey. Doesn't this extraordinary agent have any pride? Enjoy your meal. His culinary skills are already at the level of a master chef. After undergoing physical upgrades, their 5 senses also became extremely acute. The speed and precision of the work were visibly remarkable. Every detail was handled exceptionally well, and the enticing fragrance was just right. When this dish was served, this immediately drew praise from Natasha. Cool. Don't waste too much time on the bullet maniac. Oh, why did you find their trail? No, not at all. I recently ran into a senior colleague from our National Strategic Defense, Offense and Logistics Support Bureau. It's unbelievable. Can you guess who it is? The organization's name is indeed a mouthful. When Tony returns, after a barrage of sarcastic remarks, it will then be changed to SHILD. Natasha looked at the mysterious Russell, pondered for a moment, and said, It's Alexander Pierce. I heard he was transferred to another place, not in New York. This is the former director of SHIELD. But no one could have predicted it. The other party turned out to be the leader of a Hydra branch, an undercover agent even more capable than Lao Kinming. No, he has to be even more legendary. Did you see Ms. Peggy? She should be in a nursing home right now. She shouldn't be out in public. This person is one of the founders of SHIELD, a powerful female agent. She never married, making her a legend among secret agents. No, even more legendary than her. Natasha exhaled a smoke ring and said, half jokingly, Did you see a living Captain America? He, even more legendary than him. Remember to wait for my call soon, tomorrow at the latest. It will definitely surprise you. Hech, what an annoying little man. May you have a peaceful day. Clock out. Russell did not go to the shelter because he received a notification that the mission was completed while he was at work, and the number of people was even increasing. Because he spent nearly $1 million. We are providing assistance with utmost sincerity. Although the expenses were considerable, they were practically free compared to the gains. In addition, the recent news of Tony's disappearance had spread, causing stock market volatility. Investors from all walks of life generously contributed, and his stocks soared to the sky before plummeting to an abysmal level. Several small goals can be achieved easily. Indeed, it's the best startup capital that time travelers can get. Russell returned home. He silently recited in his mind, claim the reward for task 2. The blood vessels in the body then begin to change. It has gained some spirituality. Some methods for making magical items also appeared in his mind, the most powerful of which was the omnipotent, wish-granting Dragon Ball. As long as you can create any shape you like, place your hands on it. It can bring the other person to life and give them the power to make wishes. Russell still chose the dragon. With a touch of his hands and the infusion of magic within him, the lifeless statue immediately came to life, its eyes blinking and brimming with vitality. The dragon has been resurrected. You can make any wish. Russell didn't really want anything, but with the idea of using it sooner rather than later, he already had a target in mind. He was carrying the same shovel used by Feng Baobao for digging people. He went straight out the door. To get back to school, I'll have to resort to tomb raiding. Tony, your dad's here. Chapter 6, Howard Stark resurrected Ghost Rider. Oh no, I've run into Jesus. When Russell was choosing the Dragon Ball Guardians, he set a goal. The candidates must be talented enough, trustworthy enough, and not stabbing him in the back. He picked and chose. I searched around. Their target was then Tony. The reason is simply because the other party is young enough, strong enough, and incredibly intelligent. He is known as the man with the knowledge curse in his brain, a mortal who rivals the gods. In addition to generations of steel armor, they have even developed quantum machines capable of traversing quantum space and time. Based on this alone, she is definitely not weaker than Bulma in the Dragon Ball world, and may even surpass her. After all, apart from her family's Capsule Corp and Time Machine, Bulma has not researched anything else remarkable. It's a waste of talent. 17-year-old Bulma is able to research the Dragon Ball radar. Tony can do it too, of course. However, considering that the other party was still the same sharp-tongued, arrogant, and quite conceited person, Russell devised a second candidate in his mind. That's the other person's father. A deceased, groundbreaking genius. Howard Stark. When the other party was quite young, he participated in the military's most advanced experiment, the Super Soldier program, and helped create the enhancement machine. Later, they researched high-strength alloys and created the unique vibranium shield in Captain America's hands. To research various high-tech weapons for the military. During the Cold War, the arc reactor, symbolizing inexhaustible energy, was developed. They also discovered a powerful new element through the study of the cosmic cube. Later, they even rebelled against Captain America's bloodline and developed a more perfect super soldier serum. Hydra stole these serums and successfully created a large number of super soldiers. However, because those super soldiers were too powerful to be controlled through mind hypnosis like the Winter Soldier, they were eventually secretly executed. Otherwise, if Captain America saw a whole bunch of his clones, he probably would have had a mental breakdown on the spot. After all, just like he mocked Iron Man, without the super soldier serum, he would be nothing. Although the other party died more than a decade ago. But Russell now has the Dragon Balls. You can revive the opponent directly, and they'll be a hero again. As for whether Hydra will go crazy and kill the other party. Okay. Arrogant Tony, would you rather have a living dad, a dead dad, or a dad who is alive but also dead? So Russell, under the moonlight, flew with a shovel to the familiar cemetery. A long time ago. Nick Fury brought his new agents here for a tour. At the time, I was thinking of paying tribute. Who would have thought that I would become the guide? The brick flew with great force. Under Russell's terrifying strength, the shovel was swung so fast that it soon broke the cement seal on the grave. Howard's urn was found easily. Fortunately, Tony didn't throw the other guy away. Otherwise, after being resurrected, the pieces will be scattered and disorganized, which is extremely troublesome. Next to the other person's urn was another urn with a picture of a woman on it. It was none other than Tonya's beloved mother, Maria. I'm sorry, ma'am. There's a limit to the number of revival tickets this year. You'll have to wait in line. Howard's urn was taken out. Russell was backfilling the hole when, as he was getting into the swing of things, he sensed an unusual aura approaching. He was quite surprised. After all, appearing in a cemetery in the middle of the night, could it be a colleague or the police? But actually, it's even worse than those two. He saw a dark corner where an elderly man, dressed like a cowboy, stood silently, leaning on a shovel, wearing a distinctive straw hat, and holding a riding crop in his other hand. The other person spat water on the ground, his deep voice filled with anger. I don't think you'll have a good ending, you underground tomb raider. Russell seemed familiar. Then it dawned on me. He seemed very relaxed, continuing to fill the soil with the shovel. Hey, old man, don't be so nervous. I'm not here for the money. I just want to borrow some ashes. I, there are too many supervillains out there. They need someone to sprinkle a little bit of dust in their eyes. The old cowboy was completely silenced. He couldn't understand what Russell was saying at all. Seeing Russell's theft and his nonchalant attitude, he left with the chilling words, "Hell will judge your vile soul." He pulled his hat down. He covered his face. A horse neighed behind me, its hooves pounding the ground, seemingly very happy, as if celebrating something. It was anticipating that powerful flame. It reattached. Nothing happened. The old man looked completely bewildered, staring at Russell in disbelief. Russell laughed heartily, looking at the old man with a mocking expression. Ghost Rider's power is indeed very strong, but it can only be used to judge evil people. And the facts have proven that I was not lying. I am a good person. He held Howard's ashes in one hand. He held the shovel in his other hand. He stood on Howard's grave in the middle of the night, grinning wickedly and saying he was a good person. It looks like a lie no matter how you look at it. It seemed particularly eerie. The Ghost Rider on the other side became even more silent, increasingly questioning the meaning of life. That's right, it's Ghost Rider. This old man dressed as a cowboy is the second-generation Ghost Rider. He made a deal with the devil and can wield hellfire from hell, judging the souls of all kinds of evil people. He is a supermodel with considerable power. After all, hellfire is a soul attack. Most superheroes and supervillains have no way to resist it. Just like when the Hulk attacked the Ancient One on the balcony, he was slapped out of his soul and left defenseless. Russell is of Namekian descent and is naturally benevolent. He also saved many people. Is his soul sinful? Please, can't you see the brightly lit golden wheel of merit? Killing bad guys will increase your merit. Not to mention, Russell isn't afraid of Ghost Rider at all. Is he that powerful? Does he have a combat value of over 1,000? Go ahead and talk to me with my Kai blast. The second-generation Ghost Rider was questioning his existence. He thought he was old, and his eyesight was failing. He watched strangely as Russell carried out his grave-robbing activities in front of him. However, Russell didn't hide anything. After he finished, he placed the dragon on top of Howard's urn, accompanied by the chanting of incantations. "Come forth, Shenron." A colossal object then hovered in midair. His expression was imposing, baring its teeth and brandishing its claws. It is indeed the image of a divine dragon. The terrifying aura of justice swept over them, making the second-generation Ghost Rider feel as if he were facing a formidable enemy, breaking out in a cold sweat as if he had encountered his natural foe. Dragon, great creator, I am omnipotent. Resurrect Howard before me. Shenron. Shenron, your wish is very simple. With the disappearance of the dragon, Howard, who had been burned to ashes, crawled out of the urn in a daze. He stared blankly to the left and right. Who am I? Where am I? And there was someone even more dazed beside him. Ghost Rider, I. The old man stared in disbelief, stunned for a long time, his mind racing. You might not believe it, but I met Jesus himself. Chapter 7, Gu 1. Your talent is the best I've ever seen. Mary. Maria. Howard has been resurrected and returned. After a brief period of confusion, he immediately became very nervous. This is because his memory is still stuck on the time after he replicated the super soldier serum, when he was driving with his wife, and they were stopped by an assassin halfway there. The other party was extremely cold-blooded. That appearance was like the arrival of death. It is still etched in his mind. It terrified him. Howard thought of his wife Maria, who was also in the car, and remembered her terrible condition. He frantically searched around for her. In the end, they couldn't find anything. The surroundings were pitch black, so quiet and cold. There was no road as I remembered, no killer, no car, and of course, no wife who had died tragically. Don't bother looking anymore. It's the spirit of the past. The second-generation ghost rider looked at Howard in front of him with a complicated expression. Howard was a talking, moving, and self-aware being who was not a reincarnation. He witnessed the power that belongs to God. A dead man was brought back to life before his eyes. He lowered his head, suppressing the shock on his face. The shovel in his hand struck the tombstone beside him with a loud thud in the darkness. She's lying in there, and you should be in there too. The old man's words are simple. Howard realized what was happening. He should be dead, mercilessly killed by that familiar and ruthless killer, along with his wife Maria. He couldn't help but feel sad. If it weren't for him, his wife wouldn't have been implicated. And just then, Howard saw the silent young man suddenly rise from the ground and fly into the sky like Superman in a comic book. He was stunned. Flying. Could it be the super soldier serum? That, after being modified by geniuses, has evolved to such an incredible degree. That young man who took off from the ground. That would naturally be Bertrand Russell. His gaze remained fixed on Shenron. After seeing Shenron break down into 7 dragon balls after fulfilling his wish, he immediately leaped into the air and grabbed one of them at an incredible speed. As for the rest, there's nothing we can do. The dragon balls disappeared into the night sky at the speed of shooting stars, flying to all parts of the world. It now looks like just a smooth stone ball. But wait until a year later. They will regain the magical ability to summon the dragon. We'll set up an international trading company to search for the dragon balls in various places. We can just use our money to do it. After all, even if the dragon balls were restored to their original form, in the eyes of most people, they would just be pretty glass balls. There is no legend of dragon balls in this world. Very few people could recognize them. If Russell wishes to hide in the wilderness like he did today, and make wishes even faster to protect the secret of the dragon balls, then he can easily complete the collection and wishing process for the next 4 or 5 years. As for the frequency of use, you'll inevitably get caught out for something. However, Russell didn't bother to think that far ahead. After all, in 4 or 5 years, he might have already gained considerable strength and influence. The King of Hydra. Supreme Master. Russell flew back to the group with the dragon ball he had captured, raised his hand to stop Howard, who was full of questions, put the dragon ball in his pocket, and quietly looked at the second ghost rider. The other party saw more than Howard did. Not only did we see the dragon, but we also witnessed the dragon making a wish. He is even more shocking than Howard. There are more things to do and more questions to ask. The second ghost rider spoke. Jesus. He is on the cross. Jehovah. Maybe in the future. In Russell's view, his cheat ability was extremely powerful, capable of providing templates for various characters from all over the world, and even giving them unimaginable abilities on top of the original characters. Just like the Namekian template. They not only gave Namekians the physical constitution, but also the dragon balls. These are just the first 2 rewards. If the remaining tasks are completed, the Dragon Ball's abilities will be enhanced, allowing them to summon characters or treasures from other worlds, and even evolve to the level of the Namekian god, where they can have their wishes fulfilled and create all sorts of desired treasures. That would be reaching the level of a god. As for the so-called God Jehovah, that won't work in the Marvel universe. Let's fight Odin next door first and see which of these two fathers of the gods is stronger and whether they can destroy a planet. So, Odin. When the topic of the All-Father was brought up, Russell couldn't help but laugh. He's playing a game of vying for the throne in his own palace. He doesn't have the time or the ability for that. He found it funny. The reason why the 9 princes fought for the throne is because they were just ordinary people, yet they controlled a vast territory and governed hundreds of millions of people. And tiny Asgard has the total population exceeded 100,000. This tiny territory, with a tiny population, maybe only slightly larger than a town, is already embroiled in internal strife. They'd be better off using that time to travel through the universe via the Rainbow Bridge and conquer other planets. By then, forget about infighting among brothers. They'd probably want to have more children. The second generation Ghost Rider looked at Russell's nonchalant attitude. There was a moment of silence. Unable to understand Russell's identity, he warned, "Toying with the dead and raising them from the dead is toying with hell. If the demons find out, they will have an excuse to break the rules and come to Earth to kill. Ghost Rider's power comes from demons. Therefore, they are very aware of the terror and greed of demons, and they always want to rush into the human world to kill and plunder, turning this pure land into their territory." Russell was a rule breaker. If the devil knew. They might very well use this as a pretext to launch an invasion of humanity. They can do it. Russell's expression grew increasingly strange upon hearing this. He looked at the second-generation Ghost Rider, who seemed worried that the demons of hell might break their pact and wreak havoc on the human world. I couldn't help but recall that joke from back then. A mech pilot from a certain eternal starfield stormed into the forbidden zone of life, shouting that he would kill all those black-eyed Supremes and those natives. It was extremely comical. The second-generation Ghost Rider probably doesn't know why those hellish demons abide by the contract. He also didn't know why Odin, the king of the gods, was just a legend on Earth and not the real ruler. Because there lives a king of the underworld who is even more hellish than the underworld itself. The Supreme Master, Ancient One. The other party has reached the point of pursuing eternity and possesses a time stone that can foresee all future changes and even restart against all odds. It's like starting over countless times. There's bound to be a way that can defeat you. With this king of the underworld present, they want to invade Earth. Speaking of which, my body is so strong that I have the super combat power to easily blow up mountains and destroy cities. And naturally friendly. Without any learning, one can create legendary magical items like the Wishing Dragon simply by virtue of their talent. So is my magical talent the best that the Ancient One ever saw. Russell thought of the Namekians, who had served as gods twice on Earth. He immediately tried hard to suppress his laughter. It seems like the Kamatage 7-day cup tournament is absolutely necessary. All readers are welcome to participate in the competition. Accommodation is free. They'll arrange for Universiade to pick us up for free, Chapter 8, Saving Private Tony, Black Widow. Taking a shower, wanna join me? Remember to keep today's events a secret. The so-called demons aren't as powerful as you think. If you encounter them crawling out of hell, remember to call me. If you can't get through on the phone, then let's go to this place to find them. Hey buddy, remember to stick to your guns. We're the ones who have the upper hand. Russell didn't see the demon as a problem, On the contrary, he was somewhat eager to get involved, because he thought of his Namekian mission that hadn't been unlocked yet. What if the demons attacked the human world and unlocked it all at once? Wouldn't he be incredibly happy then? Besides, the third generation Ghost Rider. That's the one riding the motorcycle. He's quite strong. Although he's not quite up to par with Russell, he's a natural counter to villains and bad guys. He could be recruited into the Dragon Ball Guardians. So Russell thought about it and left his phone number with the second Ghost Rider. As for the address, of course, he didn't keep what was his own. No way, no way. No one would be stupid enough to reveal their address to the public and then attract the villain's ambush, almost getting blown up themselves, right? That's so stupid. Ha ha. Russell left the second Ghost Rider with the address of the New York Sanctum in Camotage. If any demon made any trouble, he could go there to complain, which was equivalent to taking a complaint to the capital, right up to the emperor. The other party would have a hard time escaping death. Let's go. The interaction between Russell and the second-generation Ghost Rider seemed somewhat unbelievable, completely shattering the worldview of Howard Stark, who was a believer in science. He believed in Newton. Then out of nowhere, Jesus, God, the King of Gods, Odin, the devil, and all that came up. His mind was in turmoil, utterly confused. He was just dead, not. Well, you know. Where did he end up? Was this still the real Earth? Those mutants back then? It's not that outrageous. Howard was questioning his existence when Russell took him up into the sky, where he saw the familiar yet strangely bustling New York night view. I was quite shocked for a moment. After all, this metropolis has far exceeded the standards he met during his lifetime. But he was quickly puzzled. How come you're still using these outdated relics that can't even fly? You should know that this happened decades ago. He was already tinkering with anti-gravity cars at Stark's exhibition, but he couldn't realize them due to the limitations of technology, craftsmanship, and energy at the time. The result was unexpected. He's been dead for so many years. Later generations didn't develop anti-gravity cars, so they seem rather useless. You created the super soldier serum, but you didn't inject yourself with it, did you? That means there's a traitor within the organization. Howard looked somewhat old, but he wasn't senile. He was still deeply troubled by his own death and had already figured out the reason behind it. He has been tracking down Captain America's whereabouts. It can be said that one must see the person alive or the body dead. He didn't believe the other person was dead. Meanwhile, he was studying the blood left behind by the other party and successfully developed a super soldier serum that was simpler and more perfect than before. Once it was widely distributed, almost all of humanity could achieve perfect evolution. But it was only just developed. He was immediately pursued by assassins. The other side is after the super soldier serum. Howard felt a chill run down his spine. Did anyone later find out the cause of my death? The official explanation is, of course, a car accident, but in reality, your death was the work of Hydra. They have been infiltrating your intelligence organization all along. Really? Damn Nazis. Howard was somewhat indignant. After all, those Nazis were incredibly brutal back then. They were the instigators of the war. They were heroes to their own people, but sinners to the entire world. He never imagined that the evil organization, after being destroyed and its leaders dying, could actually come back to life. They even parasitize their organizations. Howard became increasingly alarmed as he thought about it, worrying about the fate of his friends, but those concerns came later. Because he remembered something more important. What technology did you use to resurrect me? After all, I've been dead for at least 20 years. He's no ordinary academic underachiever. Instead, he is a super academic achiever who spans multiple fields. It has also been studied for its effects on the human body. It is simply the most sophisticated instrument in the world. If the heart stops beating for more than 10 minutes, even the most skilled doctor is powerless to help. Not to mention someone like him whose body is rotting. Maybe the bones been burned to ashes. They might not even have DNA. In this situation, they actually managed to save him. Howard was bewildered and expressed his astonishment, asking, "What kind of technology is this? Can my wife be brought back to life?" Russell placed Howard on the rooftop of a building, as Howard's body was too weak to withstand prolonged high-speed flight. He also took the opportunity to chat briefly, explaining the reason. "As you can see, I am an inventor, and I resurrected you simply because I invented a tool. As for the principle behind it, just think of it as me adding a lot of light to it. Just believe in the light. Howard, I resurrected you because of your brilliant mind. I need you to help me create something, such as a radar to locate the ball based on its wavelength. The larger the area, the better. It would be best to expand globally. Human technology has reached the point where it can detect signals from very far away in the universe and even observe the fluctuations of other secret organizations across thousands of miles. But cutting-edge technology is 100 times more powerful. Expanding the scope to the whole world is perfectly reasonable and scientific, isn't it? I also want a suit made from the same shield that Captain America wore back in the day, one that's extremely sturdy and suitable for combat. I also want a room where I can change the gravity at will, that is hard enough to withstand the impact of a nuclear bomb, and that has sensitive numerical feedback. To have a genius inventor. The benefits are numerous. Russell got many of his desires, and he also offered benefits. Consider these things as the price for my resurrection of you. If you gain my approval in the future and help me complete some incredible tasks, I will help you resurrect your wife. His cheat code is incredibly powerful. The extracted character templates from various universes are not limited to Namekians. There are also more powerful ones, such as Luo Feng from Swallowing the Stars, Sun Wukong from Journey to the West, and the three pure ones from the primordial world. That is because he surpassed the 5 great gods. The hope of achieving immortality. He needs more powerful helpers to assist him in completing those tasks. After all, a Namekian template is unlikely to satisfy Russell. This is the brutal Marvel universe, and who knows if a wander for revenge, a zombie Strange, or a Dark Strange might jump out from a parallel universe. Even the Avengers can't be relied upon. There are countless universes that have been completely wiped out. Having strong personal capabilities is the most important thing. Faced with Russell's promise, Howard's breathing quickened and a surge of guilt towards his wife welled up inside him. Without much hesitation, he agreed. "I'm willing to help you, but I need to go back to Stark Industries. I need to find my son, Tony Stark, who is a super genius no less than me. I need his help. Without top-notch laboratories and machines, I can't do much. This is the helplessness of the industrial age. No matter how powerful an individual is, or how much wisdom they possess, without the corresponding industry and resources, even if they have the knowledge of atomic bombs in their head, they may still end up worse off than someone selling tea eggs. I'm sorry. Your son, Tony Stark, is indeed a genius and a remarkable arms tycoon, but unfortunately, there was a mole in his company recently who betrayed his whereabouts, and now he is in the hands of desert terrorists. The creation of the Iron Man armor. It will take quite some time. Tony has been gathering dust there for a long time. And there's nothing I can do about it. After all, I'm just an incompetent agent. Russell didn't want to be too conspicuous, only to have knives stabbing him everywhere. He wanted to be like Hydra, silent and undetectable, yet secretly controlling the world. So what can he do? Well, but I can help you find an assistant. The phone rang. From the other side came Natasha's lazy voice and the continuous sound of water. I'm taking a shower. Want to join me? Well. Chapter 9, Nick Fury. I'm the boss of Hydra now. Black Widow, Natasha. Ace agent of the Strategic Homeland Defense, Offensive, and Security Bureau. His abilities are no less than those of Ms. Peggy back then. Russell calmly declined Black Widow's advances and casually arranged a meeting place. We're going to see her in a bit. You can talk to her directly if you need anything. For now, she seems trustworthy. As for your identity, well, just say you're your own clone and that you were forced to be awakened by your subordinates because Tony went missing. Anyway, any bizarre thing you do seems perfectly reasonable when it comes to your Stark family. Howard Stark. But he was a legend. The existence of someone written into textbooks is comparable to that of Zhuge Liang, the Prime Minister of the Three Kingdoms period. He has managed to elevate his surname to an extremely clever level, making it hard for anyone to suspect anything. Howard nodded. He did not know Natasha. After all, he was attacked in 1991, and Black Widow had only been born at that time. But Howard heard the name of an old friend. How is Peggy? Mez. Peggy had always been in a position of great responsibility. Although she realized something was wrong in her later years, she was forced to retire due to her advanced age and was confined to a nursing home. Although there isn't much freedom, but at least they have no worries about making a living. Russell then revealed a little more information. The current director's name is Nick Fury. He is also a trustworthy person, but he is quite wary. You'll have to do it yourself to gain his trust. How could the other party not be wary? After all, Nick Fury actually participated in interstellar wars when he was young. The aliens not only flew their spaceships to Earth, but they also had special abilities, such as being able to mimic human faces. Think about the wife sleeping in bed today. Tomorrow, she'll look like someone else's woman. How can I not feel uneasy? Project Pegasus. Howard knew it better than Russell, because it was he who led the team to dig the Tesseract out of the Arctic glacier. Although he went there because of Captain America. But they couldn't find the other party. The powerful energy contained in the cosmic cube immediately attracted the attention of the higher-ups. He led a team to conduct research and found a new element that was more powerful and cleaner than palladium. However, due to the limitations of the times, technology simply cannot achieve that. So it was hidden away and used as a key to the new era, given to his son as a New Year's gift. That's a treasure worth hundreds of billions. But ultimately, due to the Winter Soldier's assassination attempt, this coming-of-age ceremony was never given, becoming a regret. Besides his research on the cosmic cube, a group of other scientists also took it to study, intending to turn it into a light-speed engine and launch a space battleship project with a certain bigwig to wage space conquest. It didn't work out. Oh, I remember him. I never thought that clumsy little agent would become the director. Howard thought of Nick Fury. Does he have any weaknesses now? Does greed count? Oh, that's simple. The Stark family may not have much else, but they are still quite wealthy, making them a moderately well-off family. He embezzled a little over 100 million, probably an aircraft carrier, a dozen high-tech fighter jets, and several military bases. He may have also been supporting several thousand elite subordinates. This budget is now complete. Did they embezzle 1 trillion yuan in funds? That's not much, after all. It's not even enough to pay off the debts owed by someone. Howard is the next generation of bureau chiefs playing such fancy tricks. There. Natasha, dressed in a tight-fitting outfit, leaned against the car. He was quietly smoking. She had no idea what Russell meant by the surprise he was talking about in the middle of the night. But she still came out. Anyway, if Russell tries to mess with her, she'll show him just how strong and powerful her legs are. Soon, a car pulled up in front of her. Natasha opened the car door, glanced inside, and then got in, her eyes filled with surprise and uncertainty. She saw a very familiar-looking old man in the back seat of the car. Who is he? Our former director. Natasha. She arched her back like a cat in shock, her eyes wide with disbelief. You may not have seen me before. My name is Howard Stark. I used to be in charge of weapons research and development design for the agency. Howard's aged voice confirmed Natasha's suspicions, which was utterly unbelievable. She stared straight at Howard, then looked at Russell. You fucking call this a surprise? That's fucking terrifying. Where is it? It couldn't have been picked up from the roadside, could it? I noticed something was off in the department before, that there were people from our old enemy Hydra. So when I was researching the super soldier serum, I created a clone for myself. I was supposed to stay asleep forever. I was only woken up a few days ago. Howard wasn't acting. His words were full of emotion. I only have one son, Tony. He's so outstanding, developing such advanced weapons. He's a hero who protects America, and yet those incompetent congressmen just ignored Tony's life and death. The old man's eyes blazed with anger. I need your help to find Tony and the mole within Stark Industries. Whoever it is, eliminate them all. I want Tony alive or dead. If anything goes wrong, I want them all dead. I want America to declare war on them. Natasha remained silent. She knew the other person wasn't joking. After all, the other party was the former head of an arms tycoon and once controlled the world's largest intelligence organization, possessing powerful connections in the military, political, and business circles. To start a war that annihilated a nation. All of those are possible. This is the power of financial giants. But she wasn't interested in that. The department has already sent Carlson to investigate the other party's whereabouts, and Natasha suddenly realized something, because this kind of thing shouldn't be asked of her, but of someone else. Just now, the car door was opened. Nick Fury sat down next to Howard, his single eye fixed intently on Howard's familiar yet unfamiliar face, looking utterly shocked. God knows what happened when he heard the other person's voice on the phone. My heart is in utter turmoil. He suspected he was seeing a ghost. He suspected it was a trap set by aliens. But Howard's words still made Nick Fury choose to come in person to meet him. Super soldier serum. This is a perfect copy of Howard. But it was stolen by an assassin. As a result, SHIELD still doesn't have the technology. Once Nick Fury obtains it, he can transform his agents into super agents, making it hard for the king of spies not to be tempted. Did you bring my data and equipment? Why not produce it at the Bureau? Because there are Hydra people there. Who is it? A lot. Nick Fury's fingers trembled slightly. He did not doubt Howard's words. Because cloning seems unscientific, he actually has several. To his surprise, SHIELD had many Hydra agents within its ranks, and even some from Howard's era. After more than a decade of development, wouldn't that mean? SHIDLD. X. Snake nest. Square root. OMG fuck. Nick Fury's face turned dark and then green. I'm fucking the boss of Hydra. Chapter 10, Super Soldier Howard, Tony. What? My dad is on his way to save me. Nick Fury's expression was extremely grim, after all. He never expected that his most trusted group of subordinates would include Hydra agents, or even possibly all of them. And it was he who paid the salary. That was all money he painstakingly and shamelessly embezzled. Do you think it's easy to embezzle military funds from the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council? That would require begging and pleading. He was busy all year, but only managed to embezzle a few $100 billion. Nick Fury went to great lengths to expand his influence, only to be told that he was surrounded by a bunch of ingrates. He took a deep breath. I tried to calm my heart, which was about to explode. Trying to remain rational, he said, Howard, what happened today is too bizarre. I need you to prove it to me. Nick Fury calmly said, I'll find a clean bunch of people to gather the materials you need. Steve doesn't have much blood left, so I'll only give you 2 portions. This means, Howard, you only have one chance to try and fail. I will only believe you when I see the Super Soldier Serum and the new Super Soldier. Nick Fury took a huge risk by agreeing to rescue Tony. Although Howard was one of the founders of SHIELD and had a lot of connections, he naturally had to give him some face. But after all, the person in question is now dead, and as the saying goes, once the person is gone, the tea cools. He is the current director. In addition, rescuing Tony was already extremely difficult, as he was in another country and the slightest mistake could cause international turmoil. Although the United States is shameless in secret, it openly proclaims itself as the world's policeman. Unless Howard can produce evidence that there is oil there is no way to openly support the US military there. He can come up with all sorts of reasons besides oil. But this is contingent on the availability of the Super Soldier Serum. So Nick Fury made a request, asking, do you need me to arrange any other people as your lab assistants? No, you have too many undercover agents. I'm afraid I won't be able to leave the lab. I'll be shot 30 times and forced to commit suicide. Nick Fury. Howard was very confident. Although he seemed to have been dead for nearly 20 years, his memory of the research on the Super Soldier Serum was not that long ago. It still seemed to be from yesterday. It was a task they were very familiar with. He did not ask for any other researchers as assistants, only Natasha and Russell. Natasha is a top agent of SHIELD, and she is strong in every aspect. Once injected with the Super Soldier Serum, her strength will definitely not be weaker than the previous Captain America. Howard was confident that after injecting the enemy with the Super Soldier Serum, he would forge a shield to replicate the miracle Captain America had performed when he stormed Hydra's lair, killed Red Skull, and rescued his son Tony from the terrorists. As for why he wanted to ask Russell for help, yes, he's a very good cook. Nick Fury. His only eye gleamed with disbelief as he stared at Howard, then glanced at Russell, who was smiling shyly, his mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. Hydra tricked this old man. Are you guys joining in the fun too? I can't see in one eye, but I'm not fucking blind. But Nick Fury didn't ask any further questions. Instead, he patted Russell on the shoulder and casually remarked, I've been paying your social security, haven't I? Loyalty, sir. In the United States, modern medicine is quite advanced. It is at the world's top level. It's because they have always allowed human research, permitting them to purchase corpses for pharmaceutical experiments. In addition, the United States likes to use money to corrupt the souls of scholars from all over the world, so there are a lot of pharmaceutical companies and top-notch laboratories here. Howard, along with Natasha and Russell, used money to easily rent a laboratory. Although it wasn't the most advanced, times had changed, far surpassing what he had experienced before. Some of the instruments even left Howard deeply impressed, as he had never seen them before. The times are changing, he thought. It seems this old man is going to be left behind by the next generation. Faced with such sentiments from a famous figure in a textbook, Natasha's lips curled into a rare smile. After all, she is also a member of the new era. I love watching these great scientists from the old era, their shocked expressions as if they were country bumpkins. Nice. I love watching it. But soon Natasha's smile faded, because Howard didn't have an assistant. The other party was an elderly man with limited physical strength, and making the super soldier serum was a complicated and tedious task, so she needed help. Natasha is a top-notch agent, but she was even better at killing, using simpler, faster, and more precise methods to silently snap the neck of her victims. Instead of looking at those so-called top-notch instruments and drug droplets, what is high-speed centrifugation? What does it mean to filter and analyze blood? What is a mass spectrometer? Every time the indicator beeps, each number ticks. All of this made Natasha feel a little uneasy. Looking at Russell, who showed no reaction whatsoever, she asked softly, "Don't you think these things are very advanced?" "No, the super soldier serum is just a technology from World War II. It's not that difficult to develop. The evolution of science and technology is quite rapid. It takes a leap almost once every 10 years. They can still beat them in the same way as before. It's like the cheapest Redmi phone today. If it were in the iPhone 4 era, it would have crushed the competition, bankrupting them on the spot. It was a complete and utter domination, instead of what it is now. Why bother with the Xiaomi comparison method? To make someone laugh. Russell knew that Natasha didn't know much, so he explained, "Pharmacy and material science are two disciplines full of mystery. Many things are obtained by chance. The secret lies in the formula. Once the core material is found, the manufacturing process is actually very simple. Even a small pharmaceutical factory can make it." Natasha suddenly realized. But I was also a little surprised. "We're both secret agents. How come you're so knowledgeable?" After all, she had witnessed firsthand how well the other person cooperated with Howard, acting like a research expert with remarkable synergy. "Aren't you the cook in charge of logistics at SHIELD? I didn't understand it before." Russell was very honest. He waved the book he had bought on the way, placed his hand on it, and immediately absorbed the knowledge from the book. "And now I understand. This is the Namekian's talent. Knowledge can be acquired through rapid reading. It's just because he doesn't have antennae on his head. If his two antennae moved, he would look very familiar." Natasha, standing to the side, looked completely bewildered. Even someone who's not very bright can't learn calculus, right? Natasha. She felt as if she had been stabbed. Howard nodded and added, "These are all written in books. Anyone with a normal IQ should be able to understand them with just a glance." He thought about his son Tony's behavior and said that he had already been very tactful. After all, his son had already developed a world-class V8 engine at the age of 8 and assembled it on a supercar. You can't be less capable than an 8-year-old child, can you? Natasha. She became withdrawn and stopped saying anything. After half a day of effort, Howard completed the production of the super soldier serum and had Natasha lie in the enhancement device. Once stimulated by gamma rays and electric current, a new super soldier would appear. Natasha lay down without hesitation. Howard whispered to Russell, "The experiment was quite successful. I produced 2 super soldier serums. I don't need it. He has Namekian blood. That so-called 50-50, Captain. Can combat value reach 100? Since you don't need it, I plan to use it myself." Howard had made up his mind. His expression was somber. "If it weren't for me, Maria wouldn't have died. Tony, I owe him so much. I don't trust anyone else. He needs to be injected with super soldier serum." She went to rescue her son herself. These words were spoken. Russell's face color was so strange. Was it a divine intervention? He had to admit it. This is part of the multiverse's operation to rescue Tony. The most outrageous one. This is so abstract. Chapter 11 Mechs. Aliens have arrived. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Russell was somewhat surprised by Howard's decision, but he thought that after Howard was injected with the super soldier serum, he would definitely get rid of his aged state and return to his youth. At that time, not only will his intelligence return to its peak, even their physical strength was at its peak. It can work 20 hours a day, even more capable than the Eastern nuclear-powered donkey. More importantly, he doesn't need to pay any extra wages or overtime pay. It's like Qin Shi Huang touching an electrical wire. He's so overwhelmed with victory, he's completely lost. So Russell smiled gently. Of course, there's no problem. After all, you developed the super soldier serum yourself, and Tony is your own son. I'm not the kind of heartless, evil capitalist. I care a lot about the people's entrepreneurs under my command, so naturally I fully agree. Howard then set up the equipment. Place the serum into it. It also lay inside the machine. With the roar of the 2 machines, the mysterious human enhancement ritual began, though the body appeared outwardly unchanged. Russell could see the electricity meter spinning rapidly and couldn't help but feel a surge of schadenfreude. The lab manager thought he was making a killing, but when he has to pay the electricity bill, he'll probably be crying in the bathroom. It's worth noting that when Steve Rogers was injected with the super soldier serum and transformed into Captain America, it consumed the power of an entire city, causing a brief power outage. Although the power generation was not high at that time, it's far less than a fraction of what it is now. But this also shows how terrifyingly high the power consumption is. Through a unique chemical combination, electrical energy can be converted into energy that enhances the human body, thereby surpassing the perfect state and possessing incredible power. How did you do that? Russell crossed his legs. Lying to one side, I looked at the information about the super soldier serum left by Howard. It contained a lot of technical terms, and I had to think carefully and ponder it while reading it. On the other side, he placed his hand on the reinforced box, using the Namekian's unique keen senses to feel the changes within. Although the super soldier serum doesn't have much effect on his current physique, but if you fully understand its intricacies, perhaps he can research a technological bloodline evolution agent that will elevate the Namekian bloodline within him to a higher level, directly breaking the 3,000 combat power limit. It's important to know that there are also mutated species among the Namekians, namely the combat-type Namekians. For example, Nail, who guards the Grand Elder, has a combat power of at least 2. Not to mention the super Namekians that appeared in the theatrical version. A fighting force of a full 1,000,000. It is evident that the upper limit of this bloodline is still very high. The most terrifying thing is that the Namekians also possess a very powerful technique, physical assimilation. By directly abandoning their own consciousness, they can merge with other Namekians and become one with them. Piccolo's arrival on Namek was to merge with Nail, which boosted his fighting power from tens of thousands to millions. Later, he merged with Kami, raising his power level to hundreds of millions. This can be described as a qualitative leap. If it weren't for the small number of Namekians and the scarcity of powerful individuals, Frieza, the so-called Emperor of the Universe, probably wouldn't have been able to leave Namek with just this one move. And Dragon Ball will no longer be the Saiyan legend. It's the legend of the Namekians. I wonder if cloning will even work. I wish I had Orochimaru. Russell flipped through the documents in his hand, thinking about the development of his own physique. He felt a little regretful, because although Tony and Howard were both geniuses, they belonged to the category of black technology. They don't place much emphasis on human research. They also can't focus on attacking the human body like Orochimaru, and they can't use their hands to rub it. Russell had a way to get Orochimaru, but that was just wishful thinking because the method was too demanding. One of them was to complete the Namekian Template Mission 4 and become a Super Namekian. The Dragon Balls he created would then be able to summon characters or items from other worlds. Secondly, abandon the Namekian template and keep refreshing randomly. You might just get the Orochimaru template directly. But no matter which one, all of these are extremely difficult. It's not easy to achieve. So Russell thought about it and gave up. He thought of another genius who studied the human body. I wonder if that green fat guy who's been running naked in the street has shown up yet. Oh yeah. Boom. An unknown amount of time passed. A faint sound accompanied it. Russell immediately looked up and realized that the enhancement was about to end. The auras of the sleeping Natasha and Howard were surging rapidly, increasing at an unscientific speed. They've grown so fast. It increased by 7 to 8 times in just over 10 minutes. It's simply unbelievable. He subconsciously assessed the situation. It's not about physical constitution, but rather the Kai in the Dragon Ball world. Natasha is not a weakling. Her combat strength is 6'7", while Howard is weaker, with a combat strength of only around 2. A 7 or 8-fold increase. This immediately brought their strength to the level of Gohan, Goku's grandfather, who was a very powerful martial artist. Unfortunately, it was only a change in physical attributes. The domineering and mysterious Kai of Dragon Ball did not appear. Otherwise, she would be even more of a supermodel. He swiftly opened the hatch, stopping Natasha, who was itching to punch everything in sight, hoping to kill a bull with one blow. Don't smash anything. These are all newly purchased precision instruments. It'll cost a fortune if they break. Russell's money is all in the stock market. If Howard can't find his son, he'll be penniless. As for Natasha, oh, so she's a millionaire woman with $1 million annual salary, and she's single and unmarried. She has such a great figure, anyone want to take her home. Let her try it, I'll pay for everything. Nick Fury's voice came from outside the laboratory. He had been observing from the shadows. After all, the super soldier serum was too important. That would represent superpower. The nemesis of supervillains. It's a bit funny that one Captain America can go toe-to-toe with another. But what if there are 3, 30, or 300 who can go toe-to-toe with another? Hydra was furious and cursing. After waking up, Natasha was enhanced by the super soldier serum. The most obvious change was that her body became extremely voluptuous, her buttocks became more perky, and her face became very resolute. It has the kind of domineering aura that Captain Marvel would have when she stared at Thanos and then smashed him with her head, her eyes filled with disdain. She felt her own power. Those were things we couldn't obtain back then, even though we lived in the Red House. Thump, thump, thump. With each fierce punch, even the modern, advanced alloy steel plate was dented, demonstrating the immense power of the blows. It has at least 10 tons. Besides strength, speed and bone strength have increased dramatically, and with the addition of nerve reaction speed, these factors combined make him an incredibly terrifying being. Any formation of 100 men like that, no matter which feudal dynasty it was, they could always implement the Xunwu Gate succession law. You're guaranteed to win. Even in modern times, this would be impressive. Even a president would have to hide and run away, since ordinary people can make them think outside the box, let alone such superhumans. You can't exactly bring an entire legion with you to work, can you? Incredible, this is actually true. Nick Fury's last shred of doubt was immediately wiped away. He made a bold decision. He's going to build a superhero league. He's going to gather at least 1,000 super soldiers. So what if it's expensive? If I'm a little greedier? No. I can just get a little more funding, right? It was just something I did. Nick Fury was bursting with excitement. There are enough super soldiers. He's invincible. It's impossible for someone to have developed the mecha from comics. Or maybe aliens have once again stormed into New York in their spaceships. He smiled confidently. The advantage lies with me. Chapter 12, the one with the weakest kidneys is Tony Stark. The sound of Natasha continuously pounding the steel plate could be heard. Howard, who had been sleeping, was thus awakened. His body was far too old to withstand the enhancement of the super soldier serum, and much of the energy was used for stitching and mending, so the process was quite slow. His advancement was far less than that of the young and strong Steve and Natasha. But that's still quite impressive. Drop. The hatch was opened from the inside out. Howard walked out, and his appearance was revealed to everyone. He didn't look like a grey-haired man at all. Instead, he looked decades younger, as if he had returned to middle age. He looked very energetic. All the wrinkles on my face are gone. Even with his bent-over posture, he appeared upright. His drowsy mind regained its youthfulness, and his thinking became extremely agile, which could be seen directly from his bright eyes. This is youth that cannot be reversed. I feel pretty good. Howard was most aware of the changes in his body. His gaze swept around, then he couldn't help but look at his hands, observing the changes in his body. A look of helplessness flashed across his face. I didn't expect the changes to be so drastic, to become so young. I'm in big trouble. As for what trouble? He didn't say it aloud. Russell watched Howard, who had become younger, with great interest. The super soldier serum was not a longevity drug. Although it could enhance a person's physique, it did not make him young again and give him a boyish face. The reason why the other party has become this middle-aged is because the super soldier serum allows people to reach the limit of lifespan, which is the limit that can be achieved by not getting sick, not starving, not getting infected, being physically and mentally healthy, and not getting married. Some experts say it's 120 years old. Some studies say it's 150 years old. There are many different opinions. Even Russell didn't know, after all. The last super soldier serum recipient, Captain America, was only in his 20s when he received the serum, and later crashed his plane into a glacier, where he was frozen for nearly 70 years. After the other party finished participating in the Infinite War, they remained in another dimension, becoming white-haired and looking very old. But who knows how many more years the other person can live? They might even be able to send their own grandchildren away. Appearances are just a deception. Russell was so curious mainly because he thought that there was no way to live in the Marvel universe. Even someone as powerful as the Ancient One only lived by stealing the power of darkness. In other words, the gods of Asgard seem to have a longer lifespan. But even the mighty Odin, the king of gods, they eventually died of old age, living for a maximum of 4,000 years. By the way, how many years do Namekians live? Russell doesn't remember it highly. After all, the Namekian elder eventually died of old age, and the Celestial who wandered to Earth also looked very old. He kept this in mind. I'm looking into whether there's any way to extend my lifespan in the future. They should live for at least another 10,000 years, right? Otherwise, if the Dark Lord next door saw this, he would laugh at him for being unable to live. Russell was pondering. Howard had already grasped the basics of his increased physical abilities. Superhumans adapt to these changes quickly. He said to Nick Fury, "How about it? I didn't lie to you, did I? Super soldiers are the best proof. This is a wisdom unique to Earth." Without hesitation, Nick Fury shook Howard's hand. "Howard Stark, welcome back." He was well aware of the other person's importance. Even if Tony dies in the desert this time, the other party could still regain control of Stark Industries, the massive trillion-dollar arms company. The blood test results between him and Tony would absolutely leave all the executives at Stark Industries speechless and bewildered. That's a blood-related, parent-child relationship. Given that Tony is Howard's biological son, that Howard has been dead for many years, and that under normal circumstances, the dead cannot be resurrected, what kind of relationship could there be with someone who is related to Tony by blood, and even his biological son? So how did Tony, who is under 40, give birth to a son who looks middle-aged? Could someone under 10 years old be a skilled warrior? That's incredibly talented. Nick Fury reiterated his earlier promise to Howard. Go for it. SHIELD will be your strongest support. I've already informed Carlson, and he'll report back to you on the results of our investigation these past few days. The area will be narrowed down to just 3 locations. If needed, you can mobilize the local 15,000 troops at any time. An aircraft carrier and 57 fighter jets with an unlimited number of missiles. That's the strongest network I can mobilize. Remember not to let the video circulate online. Otherwise, it would be difficult for me too. As the largest intelligence organization based in the United States and supported by the world's 5 major rogue states, SHIELD wields immense power. In addition, there's Nick Fury. Very rich. Then you can do a lot of things. Howard nodded. After all, he was going to save his son, not to destroy a country. But if Tony got into trouble, some things would come in handy. Don't underestimate a father's anger. They went directly through the secret passage. Natasha piloted the fighter jet towards the desert region. Howard touched the 6-barreled Gatling gun provided by SHIELD, which weighed several hundred pounds and was just the right size for one arm. It didn't require any superb shooting skills. It was simple and brutal. Just shoot at the target. He said with a touch of self-deprecation, "I only went to the battlefield during World War II when I was fighting against the Nazis. Later, I engaged in military research and developed countless weapons. I never imagined that one day I would use them to kill people. Tony, is there still a chance?" Howard's words were very cryptic. He spoke very nervously. His gaze fell upon Russell because he knew in his heart that Russell possessed the miraculous ability to resurrect the dead. Even he, who died and was reduced to ashes. They can all be resurrected. Tony was naturally no match for him either. But they're still doing well. What if Tony doesn't meet the conditions for resurrection? Should we revive the wife first or the son? Russell wasn't as nervous as Howard. He was leisurely enjoying his wine and the scenery. He knew perfectly well that Tony had fallen into the hands of terrorists. Although he had almost drowned in a water tank, he still knew how to back down.